YouTube, what the crap's going on? Kentucky Fried Air, according to my name, back here on Total War Rome 2, ready to bring you some more online multiplayer action. And we're going to take a look at the Battle of Velathri today. No, not a historical battle, but just one for fun, where I represent some Primarian Roman action here. Along with a Boii player, we were facing the Lusitani and the Seleucids, and honestly, when I saw the faction pick, I was like, man, this should be an easy win for us, really, because the Seleucids are quite bad. But of course, this is a city battle, not an open field battle, and we never know how things could turn out different. Let me give you kind of a, let's pause it. Let's give you kind of a quick overhead of the city of Velathri here, so you'll kind of know the general layout. We'll get that off the screen. So the town center is located here. Obviously there's several entrances to the city. There's some terrain back here on this side. If we get back in here and go to the overhead view, this might be an easier way to, for you to see the troop positioning rather than just being zoomed way out. There we go, we'll rotate it in. So yeah, here's the overhead view of the town, kind of the troop layout. I concentrated my troops on this side of the town. There is a larger concentration of enemies behind, but I wanted to isolate and destroy this pocket and then hopefully come back and destroy the rest. The Boii player has deployed the most of his troops up here. As far as overall army builds, there's a Lusitani and a Seleucid opponent. The Seleucid actually brings a mix of thorax swords, silver shield swords, and royal peltist. I think there's 2 royal peltists, maybe 1 or 2 silver shield swords. The Lusitani player has 3 Lusitani nobles, several veteran shield warriors. I think it's 3 in total. Here's some Median Cav. Trying to think, and that's obviously, so they're more veteran shield warriors. So it looks like 4 veteran shield warriors. There's archers on the field for the Seleucid, 4 archers. Couple of Iberian Cav, but mostly our enemies have brought a lot of pretty decent sword infantry, which makes me wish that I hadn't brought so many Hastati. And we'll bring this on back down to earth here and let you watch the battle unfold. I'll kind of hit play, let you all kind of see from a big overhead. So again, I'm the Romans, the Boii is my teammate, and the Seleucids and the Lusitani are our enemies. So the yellow and the gray are against us. So I'm going to move out and immediately try to overwhelm enemy troops near me on this side. It seems like the sound's a little bit quiet. And the music isn't working. The Rome 1 music mod may not be working, but whatever the case is, doesn't matter. So here I've got some Hastati breaking the charge of some veteran shield, or some Lusitani nobles, and these Hastati are going to do a good job of kind of slowing down the Lusitani nobles and making them waste some of their men and abilities, while my Principe are going to envelop. And then the same thing over here, my Hastati blunt the veteran shield warriors while my Principe move in for the kill. And then my cavalry is already swerving in here to take out Balearic slingers. So Lusitani player is going to lose a lot of Balearic slingers. I have 4 Equites that are here on the charge chasing out the Balearic slingers. Let's see what's happening all around the battlefield. So the Boii player over here is getting ready to be engaged by Lusitani and Seleucids from multiple directions. These Balearic slingers up here are going to go unopposed. The Boii has like several Oathsworn units, looks like 4 of them, and then some sword followers and axe warriors. He brought very few units, but very high quality units. So you can see that the veteran shield warriors are dying very easily. The Lusitani nobles are a little more tricky to crack. Nice rear charge here from the Seleucid player and his Median Cav into my Principe. They're going to cause some damage. Fortunately, I don't think it'll be severe, but it is doing some damage. And I've got a sword unit chasing the Median Cav as well, but there's slingers. Here comes some Iberian Cav. These are very high attack light cavalry. They're best used to mop up lightweight skirmishers and stuff like that. My opponent's going to use them for a rear charge here where they actually chuck some javelins, and then they turn and make a beeline towards the town, I think. I don't know, but that javelin toss there, I'm surprised it didn't get them any kills. Typically that's a good deal. They're going to come over here into my gladiators, so you're going to see my gladiators take a charge from these light cavalry. Fortunately it was light cavalry. Still going to do some damage to my gladiators, but fortunately not a whole lot, and my gladiators will cut these guys down. I have 3 units of them, and I was kind of hoping that they, under the influence of a Caesar general, could potentially be some really deadly units, but I've not used them much in combat against other heavy infantry, and since they have no armor and stuff, it may not work out well. Some Median cav got a nice charge there. Iberian cav coming in to help out too, but my Principe is going to be able to withstand all that. Let's go check out the action between the Boii. Okay, the Boii are about to get caught in action over here. These sword followers are not charging, and they need to. The sword followers will absolutely pummel veteran shield warriors if they get a charge, but if they just stand here and take the charge, it's not going to be good. Oh no, this is going to be a huge misuse of sword followers here, getting charged, and that's a Lusitani noble. So yeah, this fight's not going to go all that well for the Boii because they didn't get the charge there. The sword followers would have done extremely well on the charge versus the veteran shield warriors, but now they're just going to get eaten up by the Lusitani noble and more veteran shield warriors. He would have lost over here one way or the other. So you can see I've wrapped up the Lusitani out here, killed all these Balearic slingers. I still have all my units intact, barring maybe like a Hastati or something like that. So we killed quite a few enemy units for very few losses, but once I got done doing that, I was like, man, there's a crap load of enemies left. And right here, these sword followers are just sitting here taking it from archers, which is unfortunate. But out here, he's got a Silver Shield Swordsman, 2 Thorax Swords, and a Royal Peltus. That is a lot of sword power there. More so than what I have in my army as the Romans. Here we've got a Silver Shield Sword and a Thorax Sword. So again, the Silver Shield Sword is not typically great for its price point, but in a nasty grind out battle in the middle of the city, these guys are going to be pretty strong. They're going to be big time hitters. Lusitani nobles, there's more Balearic slingers here, and archers. I mean, I killed probably 4 units of Balearic slingers already, and there's still more for the Iberian. The Iberian may have been worried that we would camp, so he wanted to be able to pick us apart. I say that the Lusitani play. Now these sword followers still end up punching pretty well, considering how poorly engaged they were here as far as not getting a charge. Now that said, I have not played a perfect game here either, and the game isn't over, so we'll see. So I don't mean that to be mean to my opponent, it's just those guys didn't get used real well. Overall, though, he was working with me and communicating with me and doing his best to make this a successful battle for us. Though these Oathsworn are just getting absolutely wrecked by Balearic slingers. It's definitely a misuse of them. He should have brought them over here and engaged rather than just sit here and eat the fire. And then all these units should have just gone ahead and come over here already. Because this is a mess. So I'm trying to move cavalry over here as quick as I can to help out. So yeah, up here above Velathri, you can see my cavalry moving around. But right now, just by numbers, our opponents are getting the better of this engagement, even though early on we mopped up a crap load of Lusitani. The Seleucids have some very nice units. My units are now very tired from having to run around the battlefield. And all these fresh sword units over here are going to be very difficult to face. And I almost kind of wish the Boii player would have just run away at this point and regrouped with me so he could rest our troops and do one big assault, because he's got little pockets over here that he never should have engaged. This is a guaranteed loss for the sword followers right here. Guaranteed loss, guaranteed loss. There's no sense in even having that engagement. I wish that he would have fled back and taken a more defensive position. That way my victorious forces could try and come help. But still, one way or the other, it's going to end up being a tougher fight than I thought. I think that I underestimated the Seleucids in this fight. I figured that they would just be big-time suckery because people would bring just a lot of Thorax Swords. Well, rather than bringing a lot of Thorax Swords, we have these units, Royal Peltus and Silver Shield Swords, which are considerably stronger. And I just don't typically expect these units because on an open field battle, you can't really use them to any great effect because you'll spend so much money on them that someone's going to get the better of you somewhere. But in this city battle, they actually become somewhat useful. And again, that was probably a miscalculation on my part. Now, there's some Lusitani nobles capturing the town center. This will not create a victory condition. It just gives them a morale buff. It's pretty minor, actually. It's not a big deal. I do have some Hastati here, but all my units, again, are exhausted. They need to rest. I'm trying to rest my gladiators now. And I have all these units out here, too, that are just absolutely exhausted. My cavalry's trying to rest. I can't just charge down here and get this ball of skirmishers, even though I want to, because they're protected by Silver Shield Swords and Royal Peltus. If I had shock cavalry, I could damage these Royal Peltus pretty bad, but my melee cav is not going to do much to them. Again, in a situation like this, where barbarian units are going to have a hard time charging a Royal Peltus or a Silver Shield Swordsman, and this is going to be one of those few scenarios where they shine pretty well. Because they're not going to be able to be rear charged or hit by shock cavalry or other stuff like that, these units are going to be extremely tough and extremely useful. Whereas normally they're pretty easily dealt with barbarian high charge infantry on open field battles. You can see that the Seleucid player here guarding his back, while his Royal Peltist general is in here against an Oathsworn. And the Oathsworn did not get a good charge, so the Royal Peltist general will actually do extremely well in this fight because it has a higher attack than the Oathsworn. Probably a lower defense, but it's gonna still, the Royal Peltist is gonna do very good here. On an open field charge, the Royal Peltist would have done terribly. These Thorax swords, as you could expect, are getting eaten alive by Oathsworn and sword followers. So it's actually really good for the Seleucid player that he spent all his funds on these swords, because when it comes down to it, in the city like this, cavalry is going to have limited capability, and you can choke point cavalry pretty easy, you know, in tight spots like this on the street or with the terrain, and it can limit the usefulness of cavalry, meaning that heavy sword units are certainly going to rule the day. Now that's practically already the case in Rome 2. Here's my gladiators moving up now that they've gotten a little breather. Yeah, that's practically already the case. In Rome 2, let's move through the streets of Velathri here, and we'll move over to that main fight. So there's the waiting Royal Peltist and Silver Shield swords. Back here, the Boii fighting. The Boii being rear charged here by Lusitani warriors, so veteran warriors here. So the Boii are in rough shape here. They're kind of surrounded, and there's very little I can do to help them. The Lusitani have a few units that are trying to move in as well. So this unit's surrounded. They've got, looks like Thorax swords here, Oathsworn in the middle, maybe sword followers, and yeah, Lusitani behind them. So a very rough situation for those swordsmen. Here in the center, though, the Lusitani general has been pinned by an Oathsworn on one side and 2 Principe on the other. So he is caught between a rock and a hard place here. So yeah, it's not going to go well. The Lusitani noble is a very tough unit, and you can see it getting kills there, even decapitating one of my Principe, but they're just going to get overwhelmed by numbers. They're not going to be able to take the sheer numbers of high quality opponents that they have here. Lusitani noble is very capable, and as you can see, this one racking up 172 kills despite its position. My Principe are here, but again, they're exhausted. I feel like I'm forced to engage here. If I do not, they're going to piecemeal destroy the Boii player. So my Oathsworn, or my Principe are going to perform poorly in this combat because they're tired, and they're going up against very qualitatively superior units. So this is really not ideal for me. Perhaps I should have used my gladiators over here or something against these Royal Peltists. They might have had a better chance, all 3 units of them or something. Still maybe not would have won, though, because the Royal Peltists have very nice armor. Or they have very nice armor and health. Whereas my gladiators are pretty much unarmored. That's going to make them a lot more killable in melee combat. They won't deflect near as much damage. So you can see the big heavyweight fights going on here between Principe, Royal Peltist, and Silver Shield Swordsman. Definitely a line of heavy infantry gutting each other, and my guys are taking the worst of that gutting, unfortunately. My cavalry is sweeping around to try and get into useful positions. We wrapped up the town center, but now there's Iberian slingers back here, 1 Balearic, 1 Iberian, just raining down on our guys. We're going to have to go after another Lusitani noble, this one already with 169 kills. Oathsworn exhausted. Principe exhausted. So we're in a rough shape. So I have to use Loyalty of the 10th here because I can't afford to have these units rout that easy. And I also go ahead and use Presence because I thought I was going to use Kill Spree on my gladiators, but I didn't. And my gladiators can't really get to the Royal Peltist through my Principe so well, but here they are up close with the Royal Peltist. Both units have very high attack, but the Royal Peltist also have a fair amount of armor, whereas my guys do not. I think that my gladiators have better attack than the Royal Peltist, but in the end, I think this is a fight that's going to favor them because my guys are somewhat blobbed. But yeah, you can see that definitely a fight of high attack units. My gladiator tossing that Royal Peltist, that was pretty sweet. So lots of good fighting going on here, but it is definitely going in favor of the Seleucid. I was trying to be a nice guy and bring Primary in Rome, because I underestimated the Seleucids so bad, but trust me, right about now I was wishing that I had Evocati and Veteran Legionaries, because this would be a completely different fight if that was the case. But part of the reason I don't use Rome is because Veteran Legionaries and Evocati are so ridiculously good, like ridiculously good, and people might be, the sword followers are ridiculously good. Yes, they are. I don't use the Boii a lot either. I hate those units that are too ridiculously good for their price. Principe are practically one of them as well. However, I don't have an issue with Principe and Legionary cohorts being very good for their price because they are standard Roman mid-tier infantry, and I think that the Romans should be the masters of mid-tier infantry. I think that that would kind of be their niche. So I have no problem with those units with the Romans. I hate that Evocati and all the other ones are there, though, because they're just overkill. To be honest, and I don't even know why you make a post-Marian Rome, especially when the game starts as far back BC as it does. But I guess it's because that, you know, people want to conquer the whole world, which would then cover the post-Marian era. Anyway, whatever. Not a big problem with it. I just, you know, I don't always play Rome. So we kill a number of Royal Peltists, but they're doing quite okay for themselves. 200 kills and proving why they're royal and why my guys are scrubs. So yeah, the Royal Peltist definitely beating us back. If that one viewer of mine who loves Royal Peltist is watching, he's going to be loving this moment. Watching his beloved Royal Peltist wreck Romans, decapitating a gladiator there. So yeah, he will definitely love that. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on. I'm trying to sneak my cav through to get into some of these skirmishers so they'll stop wrecking us. And I managed to get some here, but I'm taking losses to nearby archers and sword units, and it's very hard for me to get around these guys, and my cav is taking severe damage as a result. But I can't just sit here and do nothing again because we are losing this fight. I've got 2 gladiators back here ready to go back into combat. I disengaged them because this blob fight was not doing me any favors. And now there's very little that I can do. We'll eventually beat this Lusitani noble, but not until it does some severe damage. Remember, it had 200 kills last time we looked. Now it's got 293. I am going to be able to get into the back of it with the cavalry unit, but still going to be a very, it's going to be a close battle, one that's not looking very winnable for us at the moment, and I'm making mistakes too. I leave this cavalry here, and it's going to get caught by this Royal Peltist and charged, so this is bad. I managed to get it away just in the nick of time, but it's already taken a lot of damage. This unit also taking damage. I'm just trying desperately to get through to these skirmishers and not doing a particularly good job. You can see that I'm not microing this cavalry unit right now, and I have a clear opening over here to the skirmishers. My general, I'm going to use him to hit this unbraced Royal Peltist and try and do a little bit of damage. It won't do much, but I can at least knock it over. I'm trying my best to keep my gladiators alive. I've used Killing Spree, but now they're just even more tired. None of them actually getting many kills, and that kind of makes sense. They're few in number, and they don't have particularly good armor, so the gladiators are not working out well for me there. Gonna finally get a few of these Greek archers up here with my equites. So my equites will take them out. We've got a few sword units left, and it's going to be a relatively close fight, but you can see that really all the tools are in the hands of the Seleucid player. We managed to defeat the Lusitani player, and I've gotten quite a few kills, but I've also made quite a few mistakes. The Seleucid player has done a great job so far of killing a lot of units and bringing an army that is really working out well for him in this scenario. Gonna bring an equitate charge into this Royal Peltist, just try and kill a few of them. We need to kill the enemy general to have any prayer of winning, and even then it probably still won't work because there's still a Silver Shield sword there, a Royal Peltist, and another Silver Shield sword, and another Royal Peltist. So yeah, this is looking ugly. A couple of Principe and an Oathsworn don't have a chance of pulling this off, though you can see the Oathsworn wrecking the snot out of that Royal Peltist on the charge, as expected. And I do believe that he's got a headhunt coming up here on it too. So, but the Royal Peltist, as that fight starts to kind of burn in, it's really going to turn around and hurt that Oathsworn bad. My general gets a nice quick rear charge on the Royal Peltist, killing a few more of them. My general actually has a lot of kills between slingers and a few other things. It's gone very well for us, but at this point, the Seleucid player is just going to overwhelm the remnants of our allied forces here. Another Royal Peltist, 324 kills there. 295 kills there. The Royal Peltist pulling their weight. The Silver Shield Swordsmen pulling their weight too at 242 kills. So again, I underestimated those units highly because I'm used to an open field, high charge environment where I can use cavalry maneuverability and missiles to take care of them. I did not have missiles here. I did not have the type of cavalry that I would normally want to field against those units, and thus all of a sudden those Seleucid units become quite powerful. I just have to leave my general in here in some of this combat. He's not going to do particularly well. I think that the Royal Peltist general did die, but the unit still did not rout. The Oathsworn here fighting desperately against overwhelming odds. And I have some Principe left, just a few of them right here, who are also fighting against pretty overwhelming odds. and they have been exhausted since the beginning of this battle, so my men are tired, they are less combat effective, and they are just being outnumbered by the superior Seleucid troops here. So, anyway, it was a lot of fun in this battle. As you can see, my teammate and I are going to lose, but I enjoyed this battle nonetheless. I don't get to fight a lot of unfortified town assaults. It's a fun, different way to play the game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's the celebrating Seleucids, and let's go take a look at the results screen. Sorry the music didn't work. I'll just turn off the music mod next time. It seems like it screws up sometime. My teammate got the fewest kills out of everybody. When you think about it, these Axe Warriors can be quite helpful again in an open field battle, but they really need to come in after a charge against a high armor unit, and they don't do well against low attack units, so they ended up getting wrecked here pretty bad. His Oathsworn, 2 units of them did pretty well. This one did not, and this one did not either, and so that was a big loss for the Boii. And only one of his sword followers really punched where it should have, and then the rest got knocked out, whereas typically these are pretty outstanding units. So the Boii not really able to use their strength to its extent. Let's take a look at the Lusitani player. Really not doing spectacular, but this Lusitani noble doing very well. 148 kills in this Velathri slinger is very nice. And some of his veteran shield warriors notching up well over 100 kills too, so definitely the Lusitani player still getting a respectable number of kills here, all things considered, and really his Lusitani nobles delivered quite a few of those to him. 296, that's a great number. 192, not bad. 189, again, not bad. But again, kudos to the Seleucid player here. What I would have thought was the weakest faction coming into this match, and probably is the weakest faction, but he made it happen. Between these two Royal Peltists right here, that is 300, that's almost 700 kills. And then notch up this last Royal Peltist, and that's over 800, getting closer to 900 kills. So really ratcheting up almost half the kills for his army of the Royal Peltist. And then this Silver Shield Swordsman right here was tanking out some serious kills too. These cheap units of archers getting 100 kills, also very nice. Now, as far as my army, where did I do good? Where did I not do so good? Now, I killed a lot of skirmishers with my cavalry. That was quite good, but my cavalry cost as much as the skirmishers, so it was kind of an even trade, and they didn't kill much infantry, so meh. Even though the kill numbers look okay, and I got quite a few from it, it's not really all that great. My general and bodyguard mopping up a lot of slingers and other units too. Definitely worthwhile for the general and bodyguard. If you look at it, some of my Principe definitely hit above their weight class here, doing quite well. This one did okay, but I mean, the majority of them were getting beat up pretty bad by the veteran shield warriors. Now, my Hastati were meant as meat shields. They accomplished this in several places, saving me from the charge of a Lusitani noble, so I didn't expect a lot from them. My gladiators, though, were my biggest disappointment. I was kind of hoping to get more out of these guys and just did not. I think I overestimated their ability in this battle, and would have done better to just bring more standard cohorts, and I might have been able to win if I just had more standard cohorts there. We'll see. Hope y'all enjoyed that one. I will be back with more Total War Rome 2 multiplayer for you in the near future. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.